All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back here for another week of Backyard Bookies, week number 5. Scott, our picks may not have been the best, but we've been giving out great gems, great pieces of information, and we called a large slice of humble pie being served to the shade man himself, Dion. Bo Nix, Heisman statement, I said, and boy, oh boy, did they deliver for us.
Yeah, you could kind of tell by like the first play of the game. I feel like
Oh, this is
that it wasn't going
over.
to be very pretty for the Colorado Buffs. I'll go ahead and take the shades off now. This is no Colorado's done. All I can say is they're a little out of their league now. I don't know. Oregon played their asses off. They could be potentially a playoff team. Bo Nix was just he was just in command the entire game. Didn't play the last quarter, which unfortunately is one of your picks. Were his over on the passing yards, and that did not hit because of that. Because once again,
Dan,
Colorado couldn't score a point until the very end of the game, so they didn't need him. So
Dan Lanning
unfortunately for
said
you,
that
that was
he was
bad.
going to step on their throat. He's like, we're not satisfied. We're going to step on their throat. And then he did dick in the second half. I think he scored one touchdown. He went for it on 4th and goal and scored a touchdown. And then said, all right, we're done. Hang an 80
Yeah,
piece.
Dan Lanning made it sound like they were going to score 100 points at halftime, but he put on the brakes in the fourth quarter, in which he easily could have scored, Miami Dolphins numbers. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how they do against USC. I might have a pick for them this week in that game. May or may not, but I don't know. They have a lot of tough games coming up, so we'll see how they do with no Travis Hunter this week, and like you said earlier, possible no Shiloh Sanders. So um, we'll see.
There was a lot of hate. Dion doesn't deserve the hate. The hate should be towards the media for being out of their minds for 3 weeks and just forgetting how to do their jobs and be realistic. Oregon's definitely a playoff caliber team. They could be the best team. It's really weird to say Bo Nix is like a good quarterback because that guy was ass, and I mean ass, when he played at Auburn. And we'd watch him every year. He'd make 1 or 2 plays with his legs, maybe, but it would just be like, oh boy, Bo Nix, he's terrible. We're going to beat him. Even though we're bad, we're going to beat Bo Nix. But let's get into the scores here. This is the last week before we spin the wheel next week. It's not as close as we needed it to be. You got 10. I got 6. It's a 4-point lead. I'm going to have to take a big swing this week on my upset, but we're not out of it. Not eliminated. It's okay. But give us your first game you're going to lose this week.
Well, this week I have one against the brand to start off. We have a Big Ten game, Michigan, Nebraska. Michigan's 17-point favorite. Over under is 39. Michigan's kind of been trending under all year, but they haven't been letting any of their opponents score 7, 6, and 7, and then 3 with Eastern Carolina. So they've given up
Nothing.
23
And
points this year.
Rucker scored on the 3rd play of the game and didn't score after that last week.
Yeah, so I might not love this pick. I mean, it's been 4 weeks in a row they've given up single digit numbers, so I would hope Nebraska can score 2 touchdowns. I would hope, just for my sake. Michigan's been doing their job, putting up 31, 31, 35, 30. So with this over under 39, I just need 2 touchdowns from Nebraska. I feel like they can potentially do it. They're at home. Big Ten game in the afternoon. I know it's betting a lot on Matt Rule to, actually play competent football. Their team is not good.
You don't even
They
need
got
that.
what?
34-7, you're cashing. 34-7, you're cashing. I like
That's
that.
true.
I
I mean,
like that.
even Nebraska, Michigan can put up 40, and then there you go. 40-0 is going to win
They
me
they just choose
that.
not to.
So
Michigan plays like a snail. They do not give a shit. Michigan's
yeah,
one of the two. They're so good, but they just do not care. They just do not care.
yeah, they're a time possession team. So getting a lot of points is going to be tough for them. But their defense is so stout. I just need 2 touchdowns from Nebraska.
Defensive turnover. Maybe the defense scores a couple for you. That could be.
Potentially,
Nebraska likes to turn the ball over. Michigan had a pick 6 last week, I think.
yeah. I mean, also Nebraska last 2 games 28-35. I know it's not great opponents.
Better, but it's
Louisiana
better.
Tech, Northern Illinois. But better opponents later in the year, they're maybe figuring something out. Hopefully, they probably aren't. They're not very good. But like I said, 2 touchdowns, all I need. 39 points. I'm taking the over. Michigan and Nebraska. In Nebraska.
This is super against the brand. I'm okay with it. I think Michigan's great. The 17, I think that's low enough to wet my whistle. Michigan hasn't covered a spread. I think they pushed last week. That's the best they've done so far this year. But against the brand, over in the Big Ten, we're Mr. Big Ten under.
I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it. I'm
It's
a
okay.
Big Ten over. A Big Ten over is not in my wheelhouse, but we're doing it once this week.
All right, I'm gonna go out of order. I'm gonna go in order of when these games play because I have a super on brand pick, my second pick. But let's go to the Pac-12. I'm going way off the board here. Arizona State, Cal. This is an ugly game. I mean, Arizona State, they hung around with USC for a while there. USC really got exposed how bad their defense is. I don't think that was much of a statement on Arizona State that USC's defense is ass. And USC messed around, turned the ball over a bunch in the red zone, didn't get touchdowns when they should have. So they kept it close. Arizona State got Colorado next week. I don't think they're going to be looking at Cal like anything. Cal's laying 12.5. I picked it at 12.5. That's the same number. So we'll stay with 12.5 because that's what the people are going to get. 13 is a number, so be wary of the 13 here. I really like Cal at home, 12.5. Cal's got a stretch of five straight ranked opponents coming up. If you want to get bowl eligible, you're 2-2. You got to win this game. This is a must show up game, must win game. And Arizona State is super banged up. I think they're on their third string quarterback right now. He looked decent last week, but USC's defense, who the hell cares? But they're missing like 9 starters due to injuries. I think they were down 10 guys last week. I think this is just a mismatch of talent. I don't think Cal's terrible. Cal had one bad game against Auburn early in the season, but Auburn's defense is not bad. Auburn's defense is pretty good. Their offense, we could talk about something else, but they lost that game 14-10, so that was a defensive struggle. They hung 32 last week against Washington. That's the most anybody's hung against Washington. So they move the football, and the offensive line for Cal has been good. Not like Arizona State's going to bring any pressure, but they have a good offensive line. They're going to be able to run the football. Arizona State's defense, we saw them. They were Swiss cheese. When Caleb wanted to score, Caleb scored. So I think this is just a big mismatch in talent overall. Arizona State's really bad football team. They're not playing for anything. Their Super Bowl is maybe beating Colorado next week. Obviously, you got the Arizona matchup. You lost the USC game. You could easily get a letdown because you're looking towards next week. I think Cal takes care of business. No problem here. 12.5, easy game. It's a weird kind of off the board game, but I don't think Cal's a bad team, and I know Arizona State is a bad team.
Well, Pete, you might have just got the swing you wanted here. That's my dog game. I'm picking Arizona State plus 350. I like the value. It's mostly just because of the value. Arizona State's coach, I know he's a young guy. He's like 33 or 34. He's like some just young, energetic, crazy man. I just like that energy. They obviously put up a little bit of points against USC, but everyone does that. Fresno's a good defense, put up a zip on them, but I really just like Arizona State's coach's energy. I don't know. It's really what I'm based off. You got more stats than I do, but
I like this. I needed this.
It's just off of value, really.
Oh, he likes the value.
I just like the value. I saw 12.5. I'm like, those two teams normally are kind of even. Cal can be bad in some years, and they can be good. Arizona State can be good some years. Not with what's his name?
Herm? Not with Herm?
Herm Edwards years one very good.
It's impossible to be good when your coaches are selling your game plan to the opposing team before the game to get you fired. That's a whole different can of worms. But I like that. All right, we got your upset in.
Based off of energy and value alone, I'm going plus 350. I got a 4-point cushion, so hoping to get that one. But if I get that one, it's over. So.
It's over. But if I cash this one, I eliminate your upset, which is that keeps me alive there.
That is big. So this is the swing game here. So definitely watch it 2:00 on 2:00 on Saturdays.
Cal Arizona State.
There's a swing.
All right, give us your second game.
Yeah, so this is what we needed right here. So the second game, also kind of an interesting game. It was an interesting line. I was on the flight to Michigan. When I was on the flight to Michigan, I was looking at ESPN, and I was bored and watching ESPN, looking at lines go through. I hadn't seen the lines yet, and I was just kind of guessing lines as they were appearing. Florida and Kentucky. So Florida's number 22 in the nation. They're coming off a pretty big win against Tennessee, Chattanooga, whatever last year Chattanooga, and last week Chattanooga not very good, but big win against Tennessee. I think we both said Tennessee not as good as
Not yeah, we
not
were
as good
on
as we thought
Florida.
they were.
We just couldn't bet Graham Mertz in good conscience.
Yeah, so when I was guessing lines, I was like, okay, 22 coming off a good win against Tennessee. I'm saying probably Florida minus 4.5, but then it shows up as Kentucky -1. They are at home, so I kind of gave them that little edge. I thought it'd be more like Florida -6.5 if they were at home. So I was like, 4.5, give them 2 points since they're on the road. But they're liking Kentucky -1. Usually, when I have a spread like that that I think is completely different, I'm usually wrong. I don't. I'm not in Vegas. I'm not making the big bucks. They know something I don't. I think that's one more on brand that we've talked about. They know something I don't. I'm going against myself. I'm picking Kentucky -1 at home. Big run game. 45 is the over under. Graham Mertz going against you this week. Finally, after 2 weeks, I've been on your side, but we're gonna go Kentucky -1. Vanderbilt, they beat them last week. Then Akron, Eastern Carolina, and Ball State. They've handled their business all season. So they're at home -1. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em. So I'll take the home team over the Florida Graham Mertz, Wisconsin offense quarterback.
I like it. I looked at this game. I like Kentucky a lot. They played really good to start the season. They got Georgia next week. Maybe it's a look ahead, but we could seriously be looking at undefeated Kentucky, undefeated Georgia for the SEC East. I think Kentucky's looked really good, and I don't think the Florida win was as much about Florida as it was about Tennessee. I think it was a lot more about Tennessee not being the team that everyone thought they were than Florida being those guys. I watched Florida get dragged through the dirt for 3 hours against Utah, and Kentucky gonna pound the rock. Kentucky is a physical football team if they're anything. They dominated Vandy last week. Vandy sucks. Who cares? But they controlled that game from start to finish. Never close. That's what you want to see. And it's kind of a rivalry game. They are very close to each other. So I like Kentucky. I like this pick a lot. I think this is a smart pick. I think Florida kind of sucks. All right, I'm gonna go on brand here. We're going super on brand. And on brand for me is my Washington Huskies. Woo, baby. My boy Michael Penix. I don't pick him every week. I give him to you every week. He finally didn't hit a passing over. He's hit it 3 other weeks. Huskies have covered, I think, every game. They're 3-1 ATS. Yeah, 3-1 ATS this season. They've been awesome. The only one that they didn't cover was against Tulsa. They won 41-10 or 43-10, and they lost by half a point. It was a 33.5 line. They've been blowing people out left, right, center. This might be the best offense in college football. I really believe Washington is the team out of the Pac-12. I know their defense isn't quite as good as Oregon's, and maybe that's going to be the great equalizer, but they're throwing to 3 NFL wide receivers. Michael Penix has been awesome. He's got enough mobility. He's great in the pocket. He's really developed as an elite passer of the football, and they just got dudes everywhere. Best part about this game, they got a bye. They got a bye, then they got Oregon. So they got no look ahead, no problem. You can go put your foot on the gas. It was 18.5 when I got it. It's up to 19.5, or down to 19.5 now. So getting a little sketchy there at 3 touchdowns, but I had it at 18.5. I think they just blow the doors out of this Arizona team. It's in Arizona. Who cares? Arizona's 3-1. They're not good. Like, I'm sorry, Arizona fans. You beat Stanford by 1 point. Stanford's awful. Awful. Their one loss, they lost by 7 to Mississippi State. Mississippi State, also awful. Not a good football team whatsoever. They beat UTEP. Okay, congratulations. I don't give a shit about UTEP. I think this is a way overrated Arizona team. Washington's the best team out of the Pac-12. I think they're going to keep making statements. I'm going to keep riding with the Huskies until somebody beats them. And they got Oregon coming up after this game, I believe. So, good statement. Get a bye. Get ready for the Ducks.
Yeah, I like the pick. I like the on-brand pick. I like Michael Penix. I am a little worried about the public. 88% is on Washington. That's a lot.
They're just catching
That
up
is
with
a
us. They're
lot.
just catching up with us.
And also Arizona, 4 straight unders. Washington, 2 out of 4. So a lot of points not being scored. So you're gonna have to cover a spread pretty high. I mean, 20 points. That's a pretty solid spread. I don't think Arizona can score many points for you to cover that. I mean, maybe 14 points, and that's going to be close to
We're gonna
up to
throw up a 50.
35.
We're gonna throw up a 50
Yeah,
burger. I ain't worried
you're
about it.
gonna have to probably. I mean, 65.5 is the over under. So I mean, they're expecting some sort of points, but just based off the last 4, it's it's been mostly under for both teams. So I do like Michael Penix, though. He's great. Unbelievable. Probably after
Heisman
Caleb
favorite.
Williams.
Heisman
After
favorite right
Caleb
now.
Williams, Heisman favorite, probably second best quarterback in the nation. But yeah, I just the number's a lot. It's 20. I think a lot of that's based off of how they've been doing the last 4 weeks, and they've just basically been dismantling everybody. But Arizona's at home, so who knows? I mean, it's obviously Washington's going to win the game, but will it be by
September.
20?
I ain't worried about that heat anymore. It's October. It's September 20. It's October 2nd.
No, I'm not worried about the Heat either. I'm just saying they're at home. It's
they're going to be too drunk. They're not even going to know when there's a football game. They're going to be at the bar. It's Arizona, guys.
In Tucson, they like to party pretty hard, so they might not even be at the game.
It's
going to be at 9 o'clock. Actually, it's a 9 o'clock game in Tucson, Central Time. So 7 o'clock in Tucson. They're already hammered.
They're lost.
So they might not even make it to the game. There might not even be anybody there. So that might not even be a factor. But 20 is a lot. So we'll see if that can cover. I mean, base and then going for my third game here. I'm taking a spread, an underdog spread here because I think 20 plus 20 is too much.
A lot of points.
And like I said earlier, Colorado USC is playing. Colorado 21.5 is the spread. I saw Colorado play against a pretty shitty defense in TCU. I think when they play good defenses, they are just overmatched. They can't do anything. Their wide receivers are like, you want to know what? I forgot.
They're bad.
Weaver's like what, 5'9", 5'10"? He's a little guy. I mean, and then no Travis Hunter. I think their other receivers small. They're just not very physically assertive, I guess. They're not very big. Guys.
They don't have. I mean, with Travis Hunter's your best receiver, you're not doing it right. He's a great athlete. Travis Hunter's a cornerback. I mean, he's going to play corner at the next level. Maybe I doubt the NFL is going to let him run the Ohtani route. But yeah, they don't have playmakers, and they get overmatched by good defenses on the offensive line, especially.
When they play a good defense, they just struggle. But we're talking about USC here, who let's see, 28 to San Jose State, 14 against maybe potentially a top 10 worst team in Nevada. I don't even know how they.
I think they're the worst. They might be the worst.
Stanford 10. That game was kind of just blown out, and then Arizona State they gave up 28. So, and you just talked about them like Arizona State's the worst team in the Pac-12. So, 28 to them. We're getting 21.5 points, three touchdowns and a hook. 73.5 is the over/under. That's a lot of points. They're expecting just score after score after score. Caleb's going to do his thing. We all know Colorado's defense is giving up a lot of points too. Even after we wanted to blow Coach Prime after the game in TCU after they won, they still gave up 42 points. So and 35 against Colorado State, who, I mean, I don't even know how they did last week. I'm sure they lost. Did they lose last week?
Probably.
See how Colorado State did last week.
Did they even play football?
I'm just like, they had to have their big game. Did they have a letdown? I mean, I don't even know if they did. They won by 8 points against Middle Tennessee State. So
good. Another awful team.
Another awful team. So 2 horrible defenses. 2, obviously one offense that's really good. The other one can play against bad defenses. I like getting 3 touchdowns and a hook. High over under. Like I said, lots of scoring coming my way. It's just going to be, can they bounce back from just a drubbing in Eugene? I think they can. I don't think I don't think Dion's going to let them. He said it himself. You got our worst, so get us now. So we'll see if they can bounce back. I think they will, but I just like 3 touchdowns and a hook against a team that's pretty angry at home as well. So I got Colorado, excuse me, 21.5.
And it's like a 10 a.m. kickoff in Boulder, so like a
Yeah.
9 a.m. kick for USC. That helps. That helps a lot. They're college kids. 9 a.m. is pretty freaking early to be getting up to play a football game local time. All right, I'm gonna go to the league this week for my third game. Maybe a surprising game, maybe a game you should never touch. But we got the Ravens at the Browns this week. This is a weird game. Both teams 2-1. Line's 3. Opened at 2.5. It's 3. I'm okay with this line still. 3. Cleveland's defense is insane. Jim Schwartz, addition to this defense, I mean, they've been unbelievable. They've allowed 1 red zone possession to start the season, and then that was last week against the Titans. When they got there, they just sacked Tannehill out of the red zone, and they got no points. So they haven't given up points in the red zone yet this season. Teams are averaging less than 10 first downs a game against them. I mean, we're talking out of this world. The defensive DVOA, minus 48. Means they're taking away 40. To give it in perspective, the best finish last year was like 14 or something, minus 14 for a defense last year. So they are out of this world right now. And Deshaun Watson, the deviant. I hate to say it, but it could be addition by subtraction for this offense. No Nick Chubb. They got rid of play action. They got rid of under center. Deshaun Watson, he's too busy thinking about massages when he's under center and he's got to run play action. He can't identify the defense. He can't break it down. He's really struggled. He turns his back to them. When he looks back around, he's lost, and we've seen it. Now he's in the gun. They're spreading it out, and he's able to break things down, and he looked a lot like the Deshaun Watson we saw out of Houston last week. He was nearly perfect. I know they were playing the Titans, but the Titans' defense isn't horrendous. It's like an average tier team. Baltimore, on the other hand, lose at home to the Colts. They struggled massively on offense. So much for this passing elite game that they talked about. Lamar's going to sling the ball all over the place. They ain't done shit. It looks like the same offense Lamar has to run, and they have no protection. No protection whatsoever for Lamar. The Colts' best part of their defense is their pass rush, and Cleveland makes them look like a high school team, okay? Myles Garrett is a top 3 game wrecker in football. If they couldn't handle the Colts, they're not going to know what to do with this Cleveland defensive line. And when things break down, Lamar can't do anything. They can't get things going. I really think the Browns are the better team here. I know it might be surprising to some people. I just think the Ravens are kind of shit. Their defense isn't great. They let homeless Baker Mayfield drive the field on them, tie the game up. I know Gay was kicking 50-yarders left and right, but still, just an awful kind of weird performance for the Ravens. I'm going to take the Browns minus 3 here. I'm okay with this. Now, the push is in big danger because it's going to be a low-scoring game because the Browns do not give up points. But I think this is going to be Ravens can't run the ball. Ravens can't throw the ball. Deshaun is kind of okay. Browns win this game by a touchdown, I think. I mean, they blew out Cincinnati week 1. The Chubb injury, they really should. I mean, Deshaun Watson lost them that Pittsburgh game. So this is a team that should be 3-0. Baltimore haven't been blown away by them yet. I mean, they look good week 2 against, who did they play week 2? Against Cincy. But now it's like, okay, Cincy was bad. They scored some points, but mediocre against Houston week 1. Okay, CJ Stroud is his first game. So I think the Browns here. I'm going to take the Browns minus 3.
I mean, basically, you're banking on the defensive line of the Browns to just pretty much contain Lamar Jackson, which I think they easily can. I mean, you saw the tape of the 2 tight ends shifting with Myles Garrett going back and forth, the left side and right side of the line of scrimmage. That was pretty amazing. That guy is impossible to stop. Like you said, game record. They have great corners. Ravens wide receivers. I mean, they're Odell Beckham. Is he still hurt? I guess he's still hurt, right? He's on the IR. And
yeah,
I'm pretty sure
he's
still hurt.
They got Bateman, and then they got. I mean, Zay Flowers is awesome, but it's
Flowers
like
is good. And also I think Zay Flowers okay? He's a rookie, but what's the running
Mark
back
Andrews
for the
is maybe
Ravens?
their biggest.
He's hurt.
Thing. Oh yeah, I mean Well, J.K. Dobbins tore his Achilles, and they got Gus.
No,
Edwards, right? Is Edwards hurt too? Yeah.
No, Gus Edwards is the only back. I think their other running back is hurt as well. So yeah, they're banged up, playing against potentially a top 5 physical team in the NFL. They're scary. I
It's
was I was I was in Cleveland, watching that game, and I was like, yeah,
yikes.
this
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 defense
is
is for real, for real.
this is scary. I mean, they stopped Derrick Henry. I think he got single digit rushing yards. It was Derrick. I mean, obviously Derrick Henry's 33 years old, but that guy couldn't do anything. It was just offensive line was just getting out physical. Derrick Henry just would have 5 guys swarming on him before he even got to the line of scrimmage. So run game's out of the question. Passing game, good luck as well. Zay Flowers is okay, but other than that, they don't have too much to.
We're leaning on the defense this week. All right.
You're also leaning on Lamar Jackson out of the game's life because this is going to be
He's
interesting,
gonna have to. I might have to switch him out in
very
fantasy.
interesting game. But
In my other league.
I actually wasn't that impressed by Deshaun Watson. Still, I mean, you said he was.
He was efficient though. Like I think
He
it
was
was
efficient. I wouldn't
27
say he
to
was
30.
perfect.
27 to 30. He had that stupid play. He still has a play. It's like, oh God,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
I I don't know. I watched the whole. I was watching the entire. I was doing nothing all day, and I was watching that game. I was like, I don't. I still don't. He was still making some,
It was better.
inaccurate
It was
throws,
just
but
better.
he's
I just
better.
need
He's better
average.
than last year.
I just
And
need
that's
average. Just
I
need
guess that's
average.
kind of all you need. Yeah, that's all you need, I guess. So, yeah, I
And
like
the
the
Ravens
pick.
secondary is super banged up. Amari Cooper is going to be running wide open against these guys. They got nobody on the back end for that. But
Yeah,
let's
also
get to
Amari
your
Cooper should have another touchdown, but
yeah. That was
that's
refs
that was so
great, great at their job. Let's get to your prop.
Cool. So, I've already picked a money line. If you want to do your upset real
I'm gonna
quick
save
here,
my upset. I'm gonna save it for
okay.
the end.
Oh, I guess you had your
Save
opening. That's the teaser.
the
You don't want to
teaser.
give that up. So I'm going to the worst game potentially in football history here.
Bears Broncos.
I felt
Bears
like I had to.
Broncos.
I felt like I had to. Man, these are just two dysfunctional franchises. Even with a Super Bowl winning head coach in Denver, he thought he could get it all done, but I guess you just can't handle Mr. Unlimited.
Russell even hasn't even been that bad. It's how come nobody talks about Sean Payton being the worst identifier of defensive coaches? His defenses were dog shit in New Orleans, and they're the worst defense in the league right now in Denver, who were good last year on defense.
And they have a top 3 cornerback who should be stopping everybody. I mean, obviously he went against Tyreek Hill, but no one's stopping him. But Patrick Surtain, man, he's the man.
Sean Payton just sucks at defense.
They have okay players on defense. Like we all thought they'd be competent. And that's kind of getting to my prop here. Justin Fields. I did not understand last year when everyone's saying he's competent and he's a great quarterback.
Can't throw football. Can't
MVP
throw football.
And all this stuff. Like, yeah, he can run the ball. He's going to run for 100 and whatever yards last year and do all this. And man, everyone was just on his dick and they loved him. And I'm just like, what are you guys seeing that I'm not? I think this guy is absolute trash. And what do you know? He can't throw a football. They're going to have to move on. I think they're going to have to move on from him. Obviously, if they get the number 1 pick, Caleb's coming in.
Caleb said he will not play for the Bears.
I
heard that report today. Caleb is not going to play for the Bears. He'll take his
maybe not then.
$10 million.
Yeah.
He's getting paid $7 right now at USC. I heard 6 to 7 in that range.
Then why would you go pro?
You come out? Exactly. You get to pick where you go. You pick where you go at this point.
You get a year in the Big Ten. And you get to play
or
good.
Or you can come out and just say, "I'm not playing for you. Here are the teams I'll play for. Figure it out,
that's
guys."
True. Yeah, that's true.
He is a DC kid. Commanders. Yeah. Don't sleep on it.
Yeah.
Get to it.
For my prop, I have Justin Fields. 2 of the last 3 games, he's been under this number, 58.5 rushing yards. Like I said, it's gonna be the worst game potentially in football history. 46 is the over/under too, which is. Wow, they're expecting points here. They're expecting Chicago to score. I don't think that's really going to happen too much. 58.5, he's only gotten that once this year. I think it was just barely over. I think 59 he might have even gotten. So just barely covered. I think he had 3 yards in his second game, and like 17 or something in his third. He's just not efficient, and they know he can't throw the ball. So what are you going to do? You're just going to stack him and spy him and he's going to hope that he can get past them, and he's not going to. So if
99 yards in a blowout last week, he can't even get garbage yards. Like, Jesus, dude. Yeah.
So if Denver has any competent defense and can understand that they have a um, one-dimensional quarterback they're playing against, just stop him from running the ball. I think they can. 58.5 is too much. So I'm taking him under 58.5.
I like it. Fade garbage. I like it. It's garbage football. It's two garbage teams. And, Mr. Unlimited done okay. I think he's like a 7th or 8th in fantasy. So he scored points. It's not like he's been terrible. All right, I had one I was gonna bet, but it was minus 150. Taylor Swift is in the building Sunday night. Travis Kelce will catch a touchdown. That's a lock at minus 150. But I'm not gonna bet that. Way too free of odds right there. I'm going to go to the other garbage game of the week. We have two other 0-3 teams playing each other. My Vikings and the Panthers, 0-3. And despite all of this, we're looking at the league leading in receivers, the league leader in passing yards, the league leader in passing touchdowns. Mr. Kirko Chains, where you at, my guy? 277.5 his passing total. He's thrown for 344, 364, and 367 this season. He hasn't even sniffed anything under 300. I'm going to ride or die with my squad this week. Worst case scenario is we dominate the game and it's a run-dominant game. But if not, and it's a Vikings game where it comes down to the wire, we're going to sling the rock all over the place and get a shit ton of yards and then shit the bed in the red zone. So Kirko, only 277.5. I'm taking that every day, and I'm going to take it twice on Sunday. I like Cousins. He leads the league in passing yards. He leads the league in passing touchdowns. The Vikings pass protection has been kind of shit, but overall decent. It's only bad at one spot, and it's at the right guard position. So Carolina's defense is good, but Bryce Young's going to be playing again. That's an instant downgrade. Bryce Young is not nearly as good as Andy Dalton. I think we can all agree with that, but he's working there. He's going to get there. So I do think, Minnesota will find a way to make this game close and make it interesting, but I think that is very conducive to us slinging the rock all over the field. So at 277.5, no problem for me. So I got Kirk over 277.5.
Yeah, it says on Action, Carolina's 22nd in passing defense, and then they're 27th in turnovers. So, expect him to drive down the field with the weapons he has. And yeah, like you said, 3 times in a row he's been over 300. So why would you not pick that?
He's been at 350, it's 360 twice, and then 344. So almost 350.
Too many weapons. I'm not sure the corners are for Carolina, but doesn't matter who you are, you're not stopping JJ. So he'll get his 100 piece. So
$150. He's getting a $150 every game at this rate.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so we got your upset. Your upset is the Sun Devils at Cal. So we're gonna end with this one. A little to save my season, save the month at least. Not even the season, just the month. To save. All right, if you really want to bet an underdog here, this is not my pick. This is the like.
I'll do my honorable mentions real quick.
Give an honorable mention. Give us the honorable mention.
Yeah, so I have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here. So I'm going South Carolina plus 11.5 at Tennessee.
Love it.
I have Sam Houston and Jacksonville State. This is the one that I wanted to pick. This is for the brand, but man, I was too much of a puss to pull the trigger. Under 36.5.
Oh, that's so low.
Man, I don't think Sam Houston scored a touchdown this year. So, and they have a decent defense. So under 6, oh man, it's just 36.5.
It's bad It's bad offense, man.
It's bad, and I'm not watching that shit. Indiana, Maryland over 50.5. I think both teams have scored a lot this year. I think they're just kind of betting on a Big Ten kind of skirmish here. So 50.5 is pretty high for a Big Ten game. So we'll take that for an honorable mention. Houston plus 8.5 at Tech. Tech lost Shuck, I believe, is what our insider Texas Tech affiliate said. So Chuck Horan, I believe the quarterback's out. So I like Houston with a little bit of points here on the road. And then Missouri minus 13.5 at Vandy. Vandy is 0-5 against the spread this year, and it's not close. So that I was debating picking that one, but that's just one more game I'm not watching. Those are my honorable mentions.
I have one honorable mention.
And
Arkansas.
also one more thing though. I picked one honorable mention last week. I think all my credibility is lost because of this one pick. I might have to retire from backyard bookies. I picked Miami and Denver under the number.
Oh,
So I
whoops.
apologize to anybody who picked that because of me. That was horrendous. I owe whoever picked that because of me a lot. So I apologize.
All right. My one honorable mention: Arkansas plus 6.5 against the Aggies. A&M lost their quarterback for the season. Max Johnson was not effective when he was in last year. He was decent in the second half against Auburn, but tends to get happy feet. And Arkansas finally broke the streak. They hadn't beaten A&M ever since they moved to the SEC. They beat them last year. Those games are always close. Those games are always wild. I think we've had like one blowout on the A&M side, and it's been a lot of super close, super weird games. So 6.5, right under there. The touchdown's the number. I think A&M's kind of slow and lethargic this week. All right, so for my upsets, if you really want to bet an upset, this is not my pick. This is an upset, I guess we can call semi-honorable mention. Syracuse plus 200 against Clemson at home. I think the line's 6.5 now. Syracuse is getting, I liked it a lot better at 7, but they're still plus 200. Clemson, they threw their season away last year. Gut-wrenching loss to Florida State. Cade Klubnik is not him, and Syracuse is very good on offense. They can throw the rock. So watch the Syracuse. If you want that, plus 200, there's an upset for y'all. But for me, to save the month, to save the season, this is this team's Super Bowl. This is their Super Bowl. They have to win this game. They're going into a semi-hostile environment. And a team that everybody wants to, fellatiate or whatever. They love this team. And I think this team is slightly overrated. And I'll never see it. It could be bias. But it's a top 25 matchup. And this top 25 matchup, I think we're going to get a big upset. I'm getting plus 550. Plus 550 in a top 25 matchup. Are you out of your minds? Are you people out of your freaking minds? We're going to Austin, baby. We got Kansas Jayhawks. Rock Chalk. We're taking down the Horns. Kansas won this game in Austin 2 years ago. It was like the start of oh my God, Kansas has a football team. This was huge for them. This is their Super Bowl. They win this game. They win the season. Now, Texas might have some redemption, but guess what? Texas is looking to next week. They got the Sooners next week. They're going to sleep on this Jayhawks team. Jalen Daniels, maybe he is the best quarterback in this game. Quinn Ewers likes to play down to his competition. That's kind of his MO. Struggles with bad teams, played great against a good team in Alabama, was good against Oklahoma last year. I just think this is a trap spot for them. I think Kansas is going to give it literally everything. Kansas will sell their soul to win this football game because they know how much it means to that program to win a game like this in Austin. I like the over here. Texas's defense really has not faced an offense. The Alabama offense is kind of ass, at least the iteration they faced where they're trying to run the Lane Kiffin offense with Milroe. They went back to their normal offense in the second half against Ole Miss. I think we're going to see a lot more of that Bama, which is a better Bama. They ain't played any offenses. And Kansas has played some defenses. Played BYU last week, housed them, 38-27. I'm expecting a lot of points. And if Texas slips up, turns the ball over, who the hell knows? So I'm going with the Jayhawks, plus 550 for the max, 3.5 points to swing me back in this one. We're going to ride it, hashtag KU football. This is redemption. This is not a basketball matchup. It'd be a lot better if it was, but it's a top 25 matchup, I think, for the first time in football history between these two schools. So I'm going to ride with the Jayhawks here.
I did think 16.5 was too much. I'm not totally sure about an upset, but that's why we pick them. Kind of just rolling the dice here. But yeah, 16.5 was definitely too much. They've recently played this game pretty close, so I do like the spread pick against them. But I mean, rolling the dice here, you got to get some points back. So
got to get a dub. And if you want to be conservative, pick Syracuse. I really like that Syracuse pick. All right, run it down again. What do you got for everybody? We'll wrap it up.
All right, we got Michigan, Nebraska over 39.5. We have Kentucky -1, or close to a pick 'em at home. Against Florida. Colorado plus 21.5 at home against USC. Dog game is going to be Arizona State plus 350, our head-to-head, maybe swing game potentially. And my prop, Justin Fields, worst quarterback in football, under 58.5 rushing yards. Besides Zach Wilson, but
it's close. It's very
yeah.
close.
And then also I just looked at the scores here. Jacksonville State, Sam Houston's already 7-7, so maybe I already lost that one.
There you go. All right. Mine, I got Cal minus 12.5 against the Sun
13-7.
Devil. Against the Sun Devils at home. That's our head-to-head. On the brand, UW, Washington Huskies minus 18.5 versus Arizona. Then I got the Cleveland Browns. I can't believe I'm actually betting on the Browns here. -3 against the Ravens at home. For my upset, we're Rock Chalk J Hawk at the Longhorns top 25 matchup plus 550. And then my man Kirko Chains for the prop bet 277.5. No problem. My dog's going to give me a 3 bills, but knowing my luck, he'll throw 250 and we'll win by 3 touchdowns somehow. Math is weird. Who knows? But all right, that's going to do it for us this week. Be sure to check back next week where I, possibly Scott, will be spinning the Wheel of Pain. The punishments have been decided essentially. Got some tweaking to do, maybe, but it should be a lot of fun. We'll film the punishment probably next week beforehand because we'll know we have some time between the games. So it should be a lot of fun. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all next week.